All right, I believe we are now live. So if you can hear me, let me know. It's been a while since we had a video, and live videos right now with a bad internet connection are tough to make, and so we don't know how this video is going to go. Anyways, let me start with a few introductions. My name is Jay. I own Section8Consulting.com. Many of you know of me on YouTube here for about 10 years. We also own Section8Consulting.com. In addition, we've expanded to TikTok. Got a pretty good little following there, and kind of enjoying that. So, the premise of today's video is to get you guys to ask questions, and then I'll be happy to answer those questions. For most of you on your TV, your phone, and other things, you're able to ask questions in the chat window. So if you have questions about Section 8 housing, low-income housing, emergency housing, rental assistance, anything to do with federal programs or vouchers, I'd be happy to accommodate that, here in the channel. If you're having difficulties hearing me, you're probably going to need as good an internet connection as I have. And so we're struggling a little bit while we wait for fiber internet to be put in for our office. So looks like everybody's a little bit shy today, so I'll just start talking, and then maybe y'all start asking the questions you want. So as many of you know, every year we go through a season which is difficult, and that's summertime, because in principle most people want to move during the summertime. And so we reach this peak season where a lot of housing authorities are closed, and because they're closed, it's harder to get vouchers. Now we're starting to reach that part of the season now with September rolling in through the holidays. So September to December is really good. In fact, if you're looking to get vouchers in housing, I would suggest to you that starting in September, it gets incrementally better all the way to December, and of course January because of the new federal budget. Okay. Beyond that, what we see is February, February, March, and April, it starts winding down, but it's still good. It isn't until you reach after April during the summer period that it becomes so miserable. And of course, I warn everybody during the year, if you're going to do something or even hire a company to do something for you, it's always best to consider these times. And so now we're reaching that good part of the season, and a lot of the housing authorities are starting to do what they call pop-ups. In the old days, housing authorities would collect a bunch of vouchers, say about 500 of them, let them in, set them in a drawer, and keep collecting them until they reached a nominal amount, and then they would start having people apply. With the pandemic around, one of the bigger factors we face is they can no longer do that. So if they get even a small incremental amount, 50 or more, they open up for a couple of days and they start giving them out, which is a much better way of doing business. Now, guys, one thing I want to talk to you about is a lot of you that are new do not know all the different ways you could possibly achieve getting a voucher or utilizing housing. Nobody's fooled by the factors of you can go get a voucher at a housing authority, but it takes a lot of time. A lot of people that do this independently without the help of somebody like myself or another company may find their waits to be a little bit ambiguous. 8, 15 years. I know a lot of my clients are only waiting on 4 years, but it does take a lot of work. Beyond vouchers, you can consider low-income housing, which goes by many wonderful and clever names like affordable housing, low-income housing, subsidized housing, tax credit housing, voucher, but it's based on your income, sometimes your disability, and you can apply directly with those buildings that are already a tax credit or subsidy property. Beyond that, for those of you that are facing tough situations where you may lose your housing, you may face imminent homelessness, you may already be in a homeless shelter, you may already be under the bridge, who knows? And in those situations, there are a different set of vouchers that are federally issued and may also include emergency housing vouchers, better known as EHV. Now, while I'm here rattling on, I'm going to move my phone out the way so I can see these comments. So, good afternoon, Tanisha Goodman. How are you today? And welcome to the channel again. Linda Cotton, how are you doing today? And Linda goes on to say, can I go and apply for HUD low-income housing in another state? I live, other state in which you live. The elevation I live is bad and problems. Okay. You know, when I lived in Denver, Colorado, I don't know if you live there or you moved somewhere like there, but the mountain ranges and the high altitudes tend to compress the nitrogen in your blood and it makes you a little bit sick. So, yes, in fact, one of the more clever techniques our company uses is we apply with housing authorities all across America. If you live in a specific zip code, if you live in a specific town or city. You should not just be applying there. So you go apply and then you're like, okay, well, it was 1995, I haven't heard anything back. Look, it's a federal program, which means you can apply in Honolulu, Puerto Rico, and 50 other states, right? So you should be applying in a multitude of states, as many counties as you could possibly do. It's a numbers game, truly. Now, of course, there are other sophisticated factors that go into getting vouchers quicker. For instance, a little town in Idaho that has nothing but a cornfield and a population of 6 with a tiny housing authority that hasn't given out a voucher. Those vouchers have been collecting dust for 9 years. Do you think addressing that housing authority would be a wise idea? Do you think they might be able to issue it to you in about 6 days? So it's a clever deception, but it's not against the law. You see the point. There are lots of ways to get vouchers without waiting 15 years, okay? Waited TH. Why is there a waiting list when they have houses and a funding available? Well, it depends on housing authorities. It really does. And so waiting lists are designed to weed out people, really. If a housing authority receives $2 or $3 million in funding, they allocate that funding based on what it comes from. We've heard about Section 811. That is a person that is age 18 to 61 that has a disability. So they will receive funding at the housing authority for Section 811, under Section 811, and it's subtitled Code of Federal Regulation, and that would allow a certain portion of those vouchers they receive there to be issued, and you'd be on a waiting list for that. And for those of you that are 62 and older, you might get the housing authority may receive Section 202 funding and would issue a voucher based on that, meaning a senior with a disability, age 62 and older. And there are many subsections and other programs that are involved. So waiting lists are designed, I guess, in principle, to disperse all the applicants. If your only problem is that you work at Taco Bell and you don't like the fact that you're unable to afford better, you feel entitled to a voucher, then that's precisely the situation in which the housing authority will put you on a list and then put you at the very bottom, okay? Preferential, so we call them preferentials or preferences, play a strong factor. So let's talk about preferences, as I've done many times in videos. Are you a veteran? Are you a domestic violence victim? Do you have HIV? Or do you have children that are under the age of 5? Are you 55 and older? Is your income considered medium, low income, or extreme low income? Do you face imminent homelessness or homelessness? And so there's a wide range of factors to be considered. But here's one thing that you should understand. Not every housing authority, this is not a boilerplate. So when I say that, I mean that the rules that apply for one housing authority does not apply to all 2,500. Every housing authority writes its own policies and procedures, and when they receive those federal funds, they determine for what reason and what cause they're going to give it out to, and the different preferential people they're going to give it to. And so if you have the right preferences in place. So you remember the part about where I discussed applying at all these housing authorities across America, but then we're looking at, okay, now how do we get information from the housing authority about who they're really going to want to give these vouchers to? That's called open public state or federal request against them. They operate with federal funds, which means all information is public. If I were to determine that they're looking for a female that is 62 years and older with a disability that has one child with them, and that's really the reason, that's really the people that are going to cherry pick out of that waiting list, then you can be assured that if I'm looking at my clients, then we need to make sure that you're all those things. That's how you eliminate housing authorities with open waiting lists that are never will accept your application but never give you anything. So we probe the nation to see where to get them. And on contingent of getting those, then there are ways to do portability. Oh, well, you got to wait 12 months. No, you don't. There are specific, and I'm not going to get into that, but there are specific reasons and medical reasons in which a housing authority could grant portability instantly, despite you not even living near it. That's part of my job, is understanding those clever ways to get the housing authority to do things they generally do not want to do. All right, I'm going to take a sip of coffee real quick while y'all dream up some new questions. All right, City Survivor, good to see you. City Survivor's been a staple of the channel, like many of my clients, and I'll tell you what, she's a good lady. Why is there a waiting list? Okay, so City Survivor goes, well, hey, Houston, I'm late. Just wanted to say hello. Glad to have you, City Survivor. Um, Mr. or Mrs. Muhammad. Hello. How it goes on to say hello. How long do you have to live in a state before you are considered a resident? Well, let's look at city and state ordinances. Anytime you travel, if you're intent to arrive in a state and actually be there greater than 30 days, then you're required by state law in most states to go and get an ID. Does that mean you need to give up your driver's license in your other state? No. It just means if you intend on being in that state greater than 30 days. Now remember, the word is intend on being there. It doesn't mean you need to be there greater than 30 days. It means you can run down the DMV, you can arrive in a state, 15 minutes later show up at the DMV, and hey, I intend on being here greater than 30 days, and under state law, I'm required to get an ID, and so here's my documentation. Congratulations, you're now a resident. And you think, oh well, it couldn't possibly be that simple. But let me ask you a question: do you think that homeless people have a metal filing cabinet that weighs 400 pounds, and they put wheels in the bottom, they tie a rope to it, and they bring all their documents with them? That way, when they go to the housing authority and housing, do you think that they make them prove all those things? No. There's lots of holes in the system. It's my job as a consultant to understand those holes. And so until Congress closes those holes and rewrites laws, I'll continue to walk my clients directly through it. So you're starting to understand that maybe you don't have to play a rigged game and lose. If you're going to play a rigged game, you might as well play to win, but you need to do it legally, okay, without deception. Moving on. So beyond that, Mr. and Mrs. Muhammad goes on to say, I asked this question because a friend of mine recently received a Section 8 voucher in North Carolina. Well, you might consider portability if you have medical reason, or many. There's a lot of different subsections written into some of the operational manuals and also HUD handbooks that would allow you to port vouchers from one place to another with good cause. City Survivor goes on to say thank you, and then Kimberly, hello and welcome to the channel. Hello, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, I spend a little bit of time out there in Memphis. You know what? Memphis kind of reminds me of my home state and a city that I lived very close to at one point in my life is New Orleans. So good to hear out from Memphis. And is it close? Is it close to impossible to find low-income housing? Well, the thing is, finding low-income housing is not impossible. It is a matter of, let me put it to you this way. I've got seniors, okay, people that are retired. They are, God help them, they're the most persistent damn people I've ever met. They'll get on the phone and they'll call 15 low-income properties every day, back to back. They don't give a damn. They got nothing better to do other than that much as the world turns, okay? So by virtue, my seniors always find low-income housing. It's my young folks I worry about. So it's a matter of diligence, and I'm not suggesting, Kimberly, that you're a senior, okay? But it's a matter of diligence. Now, is there easier and better ways to do it? Absolutely. Part of my job is to understand that, or any consultant that's worth his weight in gold, to be able to find them. But is it impossible? No. Is it let's be honest, is it a gigantic pain in the ass? Absolutely. Does it take about a month or longer? Absolutely. Even a highly skilled person like me, it ain't going to matter. I mean, because it's a lot. There's other clever things you could do, like you could arrive at city planning and development downtown in your city, walk in there. Excuse me, my name is Kimberly. I'd like to know credit property that's in development or fixed to be completed in development. Now, if the city planning and development is writing the permits for tax credit properties, then why don't you be the first person to show up the minute the concrete quits drying? You got to be clever. You have to be smart with this stuff. So why apply at the same building that 40,000 other people have called when you can, in fact, go get a list of buildings that are being built currently and sneakily show up and be the first person there before they even advertise? Literally give that landlord to start using profanity in the front lawn. How the hell did you even know we're a tax credit property? Your answer would be, I'm a very clever woman. Would you hear me out? Moving on. So, Kimberly goes on to say, I was evicted from subsidized housing in 2019 where my utilities being shut off. Well, the good thing about that is that's just the subsidy property. It still does not disqualify you from utilizing a housing choice voucher. And since I don't know your age and other details, I can't speculate as to which subsection of federal code of regulation you might fall under for. As many of you know, there's Section 811, Section 202. We can go through a bunch of them. So there's many different types of vouchers you would likely be able to access. Kimberly goes on to say that I hate Memphis. I'm sorry to hear that. Kimberly goes on to also say, no, it is impossible. Well, I can't change your mind there. If you're intent on saying that, then I suppose that is your privilege. I won't stop you. Um, Moving on from there, Mr. and Mrs. Muhammad goes on to say, I may have a book. You may book a consultation with you. I have some questions regarding portability. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Muhammad, that'd be a good idea. I can also give you an entire operational manual on portability, and I can teach you the same thing that the exact housing authority employees in the building know. So imagine playing the game, except you actually had the same manual as them. Would that not weaponize your case? It would. It would make you a lot better at what you do. Surfing around old manuals on YouTube and on Google ain't going to get you anywhere. A lot of that stuff's garbage. So it could probably set you up with some of the newest stuff, portability. City Survivor goes, P.S. I hope it's not flooding down there. Actually, it was flooding in Dallas, Texas, not Houston. We got hit in 2017 with a major flood. We got like 54 inches and dropped a bunch of houses under 17 foot. But if anybody got a flood, it was definitely New Orleans back in 2002. Those of you remember Hurricane Katrina. This year, it's been so quiet on the Gulf Coast. So I'm very happy about that. All right, moving back to Section 8. C. Blanton, no, it's not. Well, C. Blanton, we don't even know what the hell you're talking about. So just a broad range of no, it's not. We don't even know what you mean. So good luck with that, friend. You might want to elaborate a little. Just Dawn says, will I lose my voucher if I have to report zero income? Well, it more than likely, a stipulation of having a voucher is also having an income because you have a rent responsibility, 30% of your income likely, or it may be a different calculation. So reporting a zero income will likely raise some red flags. Will it make you lose instantly? No. I think they give you a chance to possibly optimize and go find another job, but you not reporting and hiding that from that housing authority most certainly will get you terminated. So you would want to report it and then see what you can do, how much time they'd be willing to give you to fix your situation, or whether or not you have something else in the cooker, like maybe you just became disabled. I don't know. So that's how you'd want to handle that. When you shut down, you start laying in bed, you start ignoring everybody, and you just throw up your hands. That's when shit can get bad. Okay, so don't do that. If you're gonna pickle and you've only got $0 and no income, you need to reach out to them, be square and upfront with them. That way, they can help you come up with a remedy to work with it. When you fail to call and fail to report, you violate your HAP contract. Ignoring the situation and turning a blind eye and just giving up on life is never a good idea. Now, I'm not suggesting you're doing that, but I know a lot of my own clients well enough. We all think about it, so try to address that. Beautiful Brown Bay Eve. Boy, it's been a minute. Glad to see you back. Hello. How are you doing? C. Blanton. It is flooding in Texas. Okay, so you clarified. All right. So C. Blanton was talking about, no, it's not flooding. I appreciate that. Normally, Mr. or Mrs. C. Blanton, when I hear somebody say, no, it's not, I usually find that when comments are made like that without the other part of it, it's because they're disagreeing about something I have to say. And sometimes that's hard to accept when you do this kind of work for 21 years. So I'm glad it was in the normal realm of things that your response. So good deal. All right, guys. So let's move back and refocus on Section 8. So here we are. I'm very excited. September's here. Last week, I and my new office manager, we processed 5 vouchers for clients. Okay. Now, did that just happen overnight? No, it didn't. Okay. This is a combination of work in months. All right. But it's exciting that I'm already starting to see the market open up. Things are definitely going to happen. So what I'm going to do right now is I'll put down some links. Now, again, my job is not here to sell anybody in. I'm not here to shake the loose change out your pocket. If you tried everything, you can't sleep at night, you can't get it done, you ain't figured it out, or you're still struggling with it, then maybe it's time to consider a little bit of help if that's what you want to do. It certainly doesn't have to be me or the company that I own. It could be anybody that's qualified to do so. All right. So I just throw up those links for those of you just are curious. This will take a minute. All right, I'm gonna drop it in here. There we go. So there's the link. Do what you as you will with it. Moving on. City Survivor SRV. What does that acronym mean? City Survivor, you can tell me. And then Just On goes on to say, I love SRV. Somebody please clue me in on what SRV is. Oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan. How could I not know that? How stupid of me. Okay. So, one thing we do have left is we have now only 4,000 housing EHVs or emergency housing vouchers left. For those of you that are facing tough situations, if you're considering getting an emergency housing voucher where you likely would be able to apply, and if you have the right preferences in place, I would suggest to you that you have a little more than 90 days left before the last of those vouchers go. And so, I've spoke about it quite widely in many of the videos. You know what I find strange is I talk with a lot of people in live chat as well as my pre-recorded videos, and people ask me questions. And despite the 600 videos I've made, it's like looking at a sign and saying I can't see it, you know. But if you actually your family, or you have seniors with you, now would be the time and the last chance to get that. As many of you may also know, the last video I posted that we have just refreshed the economy with an additional $222 million, and that will be for low-income housing and all. Let's not make any mistakes in that arena either. Just because we just received it, you know damn well those people that run the state, all our politicians, will tie it up for months. So even though that flood of money is now on the way, we're not going to see anything billed or one copper penny fall out in their pocket, probably till almost Christmas. All right. So if you're expecting those quick payouts to help you in housing, it's not going to happen. We know the government does not move that fast. All right, guys. So this is I'm gonna check the time real quick because I don't want to make a really long video. I'm getting away from the long videos. Most of you have seen me carry on for an hour. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna check the time. Looks like we're at about 21 minutes. So I'm gonna give about 3 more minutes if anybody else has any further questions, and I'm gonna check here and see. You're welcome to ask. Otherwise, I'm gonna close it out. I've enjoyed talking with you for the most part, and usually I make these Sunday afternoons, 4-ish, 5-ish, or 6-ish Texas, which is Central Standard Time. Y'all want to talk to me? Clearly on Booking Zellware, phone numbers there, email is there. You got questions, ask. I'm there to help people out whenever I can. Otherwise, I'm going to have you guys enjoy your night, and we'll see y'all possibly next Tuesday or Sunday. All right, guys. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.